in your charging port, etc. So this is something we as students also face, and so that's when we decided to work on this problem, to solve this problem, and to find a place wherein people can sit outdoors and work together, sit together, socialize together, and so that is what we are solving. And again, all of this is happening through solar energy. So we are bringing that concept into our day-to-day lives. The second domain that we are working on is an e-commerce platform wherein we sell eco-friendly products. So products made of recycled paper, bamboo, jute, all these materials that have been in India for almost more than 5,000 years, but this thing has still not come into the urban cities. These products have been there in the rural part of India, but we want to bring them to urban metro cities so that all of us can use and benefit nature at the same time. So we want to build the concept of sustainable lifestyle. If countries like Europe, America are going, why not India? When India is actually the producer of those products. So with that vision, we started this venture. Now, talking about a little bit more. So as of now, we have 3 offices. So one is a warehouse that we have in Mohali. So this one is pretty special for me because I was just a 20-year-old kid, and having my own warehouse was pretty special. And moving further, we got support from our college, UIT, wherein we got own cabin of ourselves. So again, a very special moment for both of us because we were the first startup to be in UIT who got an incubation space. So the inauguration was done with our startup. And moving further, we today also have a cabin in Jaipur where we got selected. So as our journey went through these past 2 years, we feel very delighted that today we have our own offices where we are working, our team is working, and just recently we also got one in Coimbatore. So we are expanding as I'm talking here, and it just feels special, as an entrepreneur. You are just 22 years old, and today you have this space. That is something you can call that. It's my space. I'm working here. My team is working here. So that is what a little bit startup gives you as a perk. Our products. So if you can see, so these are some of our products. So this is a neem wood comb. These are soy wax candles. These are macrame posters. So this is organic cotton, all handmade, and we are pushing the rural India. So we are giving those local artisans a way of earning through our medium. We also have seed pencils. So these are recycled pencils, and once you use them, you can just plant in soil, and a plant will grow. So these can be like your veggies, fruits, something like that. So like different varieties of seeds, flowers, etc. So the idea is that everything has to be zero waste, and we delve into sustainable lifestyle. And this one is our Smart Solar Hub. So this is the first of its kind in India. So this is a concept that was there in international spaces, but we wanted to bring it in India as well. So the first one was inaugurated in UIT, Punjab University. And this is our major goal as well, to install more of these in the Chandigarh and Tri-City in coming few months. So talking about a little bit of our achievements, so as ma'am already told you that we were one of the 75 startups that were selected out of 77,000 startups in India by Startup India, and we got displayed at Vigyan Bhavan, New Delhi. So a little bit journey about this. So it was in the month of June when I was called upon by the management on NPU that you have to deliver a session like this to the PhD students. And I was preparing my PPT, and it was about 12 noon, and I just got a call that I am calling from Ministry of India and Commerce. So I was like, yeah, say, and he's like that you have been selected in the top 75 innovative startups. So would you like to be a part of this? And I was very much excited. I didn't know how to react because that was one moment that you have been working for 2 years, and finally you get that recognition. And so that's how it is. But it wasn't easy for us. So there's a little journey to it as well. So if you see that model over there, that glass model, so it's a very funny story, I'd say. So Ishank and I, so we were making this model, and we wanted to courier it, but it wasn't possible because it would get damaged. So we decided that we'll go to Delhi ourselves and hand this over parcel. We were not allowed to exhibit ourselves because Vigyan Bhavan is a very private place where only foreign dignitaries and government officials can enter the place. So no one is actually allowed to be at that place. So we decided to go to Delhi ourselves, and we thought that we'll deliver this package. And that day it took us 9 hours to reach Delhi. Because of the Independence Day, there were security issues, there was Bharat Bandh going on by the Congress government, the borders were sealed, and it took us 9 hours to that journey. And we were carrying this 8 kg box, running around metro stations to carry it, and somehow when we entered Vigyan Bhavan, so it took us 1 hour to just enter that place to get our IDs checked, scanned and everything. And when we reached Vigyan Bhavan, we thought that we'll open this package and show it to everyone because we were the only one who brought this. And when we opened the package, the glass box was fine, but the model inside it broke into 2 pieces. So we were there, people were there, we were sitting there, and we were looking at each other's faces that what is it, what to do now. So this thing happened. Now we decided that we'll stay in Delhi for 1 day. So we went to Haryana Bhavan where we were staying. We took that model, and now we were thinking what to do with it because next day was a weekend and the markets would be closed. So we went to nearest 24/7 and we got a razor blade or something. So we tried to open this glass box and the glass shattered. So now we didn't have the glass box, the model was broken, and we had to submit this. And so next day somehow we managed to get to some seller or something, and it took us nearly 6 hours to get this thing fixed. And then we went again and handed over, and that's how this whole thing happened. So like with every achievement, obviously hurdles come, and it's just your bit that you don't have to lose. And now there's one more backstory to this that I'll cover in the next slide. So this was a startup delegation to Austria. So about this as well. So when we were at Vigyan Bhavan, when this whole model thing broke, at the same time I got a call. And he's like, I am from Austrian embassy and you have been selected for a startup delegation to Austria. So please give us your passport details, and next month you have to go to Austria. So it was a moment wherein we didn't know how to react to this situation where one side our model is broken, everyone is seeing us, and at the same time I am getting a call from embassy that we have to go to Austria. And we were out of 140 applicants, we were the 8 startups that were selected. So it was a pretty huge deal. Because it was my first international trip and his first trip in a flight. So that was how the whole thing panned out. Now talking about this delegation, we were the youngest ones, so we were like 22 years old in this delegation, and everyone was like 25, 30, something like that. And they were like big startups or something, and we were just very young startups. And the next day, we get this invite letter from Indian embassy. So this was nothing planned as of the start of delegation. So it was just momentary thing where they decided that let's call these Indian startups to the Indian embassy in Austria, and let's say make them meet with our foreign minister, Mr. Jaideep Mazumdar, and just have a good networking session. And it was so good to stand there in Austria and talk about our own startup at such an age, and that is these little achievements. So in a startup, I always say that in a month we'll always have like maybe just one good day and 29 bad days. But that one good day, we'll live for it, and that is the motivation that we have every day. So it's very difficult that every morning. So let's say I go out tomorrow to make a sale, and every morning I have to have that hope that I have to do something. But as the world it is, nothing would happen. And at night you are going. You are a little distressed and depressed, my day wasn't good and that. But again, the next morning you have to have that motivation again. And that is something that comes from within, because when you are so much passionate about your product, about your startup, you have to have from within. And that is the only way, your startup can survive. And this is something, we as entrepreneurs live for, to have that little bit of kick in life, that we have to do something and live for such days. So talking now about myself, so my startup journey. So first of all, I'll explain a little bit about the startup stages. So the first stage is ideation, which is, I believe, the most consuming time. So, getting that idea, that Einstein idea sort of thing, it can happen everywhere. It can happen right now as I'm speaking to any one of you. It can happen when you're talking with your friends in your ground. It can happen when you're, about to sleep and you can't sleep because you're, furious about your day or something like that. It can happen anywhere. So that is actually the most time-consuming step. But once you're clear with what idea you want to go for, you have these stages where you build your concept, now you build your product, you do a customer survey, you do a market validation, which is the execution. Now, this is something that, all of you should know, that your idea cannot be unique. Even if it's a breakthrough technology, it cannot be unique. Your idea must have, someone or someone else has thought that idea before as well, or may have been thinking or working on that. So this conception that I won't be sharing my idea, someone will copy it or something, so forget about that. As much as open you can be to your idea, you have to do that, because only then you will know if you are working in the right direction or not. So don't be afraid that my idea will be copied or something like that, but just do the execution. Startups like Zomato. Do you think Zomato was the first one to do a food delivery system? No, there were so many. But it's all about execution. Zomato did it really well, and now that's why it's a unicorn. But that is the actual thing, execution play. So just focus on the latter part rather than focusing on idea. So that is what will make a difference. So even if we talk about ourselves, it may not be that our idea is the most unique one or something like that, but it's always all about the execution, how you are doing it, and what and why do you want to do it. Now talking about my journey, which is where I'll walk through it, that how I built it. So the first one was a competition called Supra. So that is where we make a formula racing car. So I hope you know what a formula racing car is. So that's a student style formula racing car. So I was in my first year of college, 2018, where I joined my seniors in this team, and we were working in this project. Now, what good part about such competition is there is a business plan competition. So you have to make this whole presentation wherein you tell them that we'll want to set up a factory for, let's say, production of these cars. So this is the cost of the factory, this is all what we'll do, this is how much the product will sell for, and they decided that I'll do the business plan thing. Now I was going through the videos what MBA students are taught, just because I wanted to make this business plan presentation. So that is when I got the first idea of how a business works, or what are the things, the financial terms. Coming from an engineering background, so it was a whole new experience for me. So you don't actually realize when an opportunity would hit you. So that when I was working on this business plan, so I got this thing that I want to do my own startup like this, I want to do my own business, and that is how getting exposure to such competitions help you. Now the second thing that happened was a DIC meet. So coming from an engineering background, IIT is everything to us. IIT is like the epitome of engineering colleges, and everyone wants to go to IIT. So we prepare ourselves like +1, +2 just for IIT, but obviously we may or may not get. So like we were in UIT, so it's a pretty fair good engineering college, but obviously IIT is IIT. So but when I went to this IIT Delhi exhibition, so I got this stall of exhibition stall, and I was working with a startup. So we were doing some courses for school students, and we were earning. So I got my we did a camp something, and my first earning was 500 rupees from this camp. And that moment when you first earn something for yourself is obviously very special. So anyhow, so I just texted from group that okay fine, I'll represent the startup in IIT Delhi. So the arrangements were done, and the next day I went to IIT Delhi with my friend to represent the startup. Now, two good things happened over there. First, there were like 7-8 startups or something like that. So one of our professors, so like a very senior professor, he called upon everyone from my college and from other colleges. He took to my stall and he showed them this chart, if you can see in the picture, that's how you make a business plan. And that moment, when someone appreciates that you are into the right direction, is special. Now the next day when the exhibition happened, I had people coming from IIT, IISc and all the top colleges of India to me, and I am explaining my startup to them, and they are actually praising me. So that was the day I realized that college doesn't matter. It's always about how you're presenting yourself, your idea, and who you are. Your college is just a tag to your name, but it's not everything. It doesn't define you. It's not that you're from a tier 2 or tier 3 college, so you can't compete with the top ones. Maybe yes, they have better infrastructure, better resources, so opportunities might come to them. But if you're willing to grab those opportunities yourselves, you're equally good, or rather better. Because I have seen, those students, they are coming to me and they are asking, and they are wanting my contact number so they can connect to me. Even when we launched our startup, I had messages coming from these people, that we want to work with you, let us know. So that is, when you realize that it is all about you and how you are doing it. The third thing was this electric go-kart championship. So I was in second year of my college when I was a captain of this team, and we won the national championship of electric go-kart. So we were the youngest team ever and the first team ever in North India to win such a championship, and a first electric go-kart in this region as well. And winning a national championship at such an age was obviously very dear to me. And all these competitions when you are in your college, it builds that level of confidence that we can do it. We are no less than anyone. We have the skill set. We can build a team. We can manage. These things can be done. So this journey, you are living your journey, and these competitions, since you are all college right now in final year especially, so get exposure to any competition you get. So like today there are so many platforms where you can know about such competitions happening. So exposure to these always helps you, getting that right level of confidence. You may or may not win, so that's a secondary thing, but just getting participation, you are competing with other colleges, students, etc. So that is how, you build yourself. Now, this thing again made me, so I built the cheapest automatic sanitizer dispenser back then. So it was a corona period, everything, lockdown had just opened, a few shops, etc. So I took this initiative. So basically I got a call from my cousin that in China is like we are importing these dispensers from China, and they are very expensive. So can you build something like that? So I researched and I found the solution. So I just built it in like a cost of 500 rupees when everyone was selling for approximately 5,000. So I built this in and I just showed to in WhatsApp, and that's when I started getting orders that we want to buy this from you, we want to buy this from you, and that was the first entrepreneurial thing that I was doing back then. However, it didn't work out because again it started getting mass produced, but obviously there was a little exposure to this thing. Now the good thing also happened due to this was that I got a call from a professor that we want to show this to Vice Chancellor of Punjab University. So I went to him and I showed him. So I got a great media recognition. And next day I get a call that Times of India want to do your interview. So obviously a very big moment for me to have this interview. Now Times of India uploaded this on YouTube. Now why I'm telling this story, when I was going for my interview for my job, so they told me that explain your college journey. So I was explaining them, then I went to this point and I told them about this whole thing. So the HR just asked me to share the link of that YouTube video, and I did. And he just saw that video, and that was the moment I realized that I've been selected for the job. So you don't know what opportunity can turn into what. So just allow yourself to experience all this. Now again my startup was launched in February 21. Then Ishank and I were on a trip to Manali and we were coming back. So everyone was sleeping, and for some reason we were just talking, and he's saying me that we obviously were friends from college only, but he said that since you're working on this, even I want to work full time, and that's how I found my co-founder for my startup, and that's how you build a team. Just talking to you and knowing that you share same vision, same mission, and that is how your startup gets to motion. Now I got placed in KPMG. It's a big four firm in January. KPMG was paying me, and I worked a month or two, but then I resigned from that as well because I knew that if I want to do a startup, I should be like 100% focused on it. Otherwise, it makes no sense to do a startup and do other things. Because if it's just for money, then job is so much better than startup. But
as a startup, you want to do something, you want to create something, you want to create an impact, and that is actually what matters. Then again, we had our e-commerce launch in March, and just now we had this solar launch. So in every time something or something will come. So for example, this solar launch. So Ishank and I, we both had a viral. So just before the launch day, the night before, I had a fever of 103 degrees, and I didn't even know how it will manage. So everything was so haywire. We are working, we have to give a speech, guests are coming, this and that. So it was a whole big event sort of thing. But the part was that there was very heavy rainfall the previous day, and the whole night we were just praying that since it's in open, so rain doesn't come, and for some miracle happened or something like that. Just for the event part, there was no rain, and after our event was completed, there was so heavy rainfall, and but luckily miracle happened for us. So obviously I think that it said that if you're working hard, God also helps you. So I guess that's actually true. So now this is a similarity that I seriously believe in. So like an iceberg, you just see the tip of iceberg, but it's much underneath the sea. So startup is also something like that. So as I've all mentioned, our achievements, this and that, or you see in Shark Tank, the startup is earning this much profit, there's so much valuation. You see these big brands, Byju's, Zomato, Swiggy, Uber, etc. So all these big startups. But that's just the tip of it. So there's so much to a startup, which you can't see. So there's this whole groundwork. So right now we are getting into the space. So I'm explaining that journey which no one ever does. When we are doing our own sacrifices, we are doing our own struggles. So sacrifice, it can be a little sacrifice. Your friends are going to partying or they're going on trips, and you have to sacrifice those things for your startup. There are some personal things, you have to leave those behind. You have to see that your startup is bigger than you, and you have to work accordingly. So there's so much of groundwork that needs to be done. You are laying the whole foundation of a company that you want to live even after you are not here. So that is how this is something no one will see you, no one will appreciate you for it, but within yourselves you will know that I have done this work and I deserve it. So that is how you build your foundation of a startup, and it's very important as well to build a right foundation for your startup, because only on that the whole company would stay on. So yes, you will have to make those sacrifices. You have to have those 16 hours of work every day. You will have sleepless nights. You'll have so much of stress, but that's the beauty of it. You're living your dream with your startup. So that's the journey. Now, again, one thing is valuation. So valuation is something you value your startup according to your profits, revenue, or future revenues rather. So all these unicorns you are seeing, 8,000 crore companies. So all these is just a valuation. So it's just a number. If you really want to do a startup, work on the value creation. What impact your startup is going to make in the society, because that is what people will remember you for. If you're doing something good. Even if you impact just one person, I think your startup is worth it, because you created a difference by going by going extraordinary. You are not from the ordinary people who are just being a corporate slave or something like that, but you are going ahead and doing something for someone. So that's what your startup should be. Your idea should be to create an impact. Maybe it could be in any field. Maybe it could be tech thing or a financial thing. So anything. So like phone pay. It's just changed the way we live. So your startup has to do something like that, because if you add value, valuation will come. Obviously, if you're if you're using companies like let's say Zomato. So Zomato has impacted so many of our lives, right? So if your startup is creating an impact, valuation will come along. So just focus on creating an impact through your idea, and then you can have those higher valuations and profits, etc. So just be purpose driven. Now the main skill set you need to have is the 3 P's: the passion, the perseverance, and the patience. You have to have the passion to work every day, to work tirelessly, to work effortlessly, to just be something. You have to have those in you work every day. You it comes from within. As I say that you have to wake up every day and be motivated. So if you have the passion to work, I think that is the first priority as a person that you should have. Then perseverance, obviously it's not easy because things will not work your way. No matter how much you plan it, you cannot control the flow of water, right? So it won't matter how you need to have that perseverance levels in you. When you are working, things will go in totally opposite directions which you haven't. So this is something that personally we have also experienced. We used to plan our calendars or something, and then something would come up, or something would go our way, so we'll get agitated, it will be frustrated, etc. But obviously we are working for a bigger goal. We cannot let these personal things come in between, our personal emotions, and that is when your patience comes with it. So I was like very impatient with things. I wanted to do things very fast, very quickly, etc. But you need to slow down and just work step by step. So it's said that one day every day. So that is how things are built, and as it is, when the time is right, everything will just fall into place. So then again, resource planning is a very important aspect because money is time. So obviously, you have to have your money or whatever funding you are getting right into place. So it's very important. People think that once you get a funding, so everything will sort out. So it's not like that. So for example, if today I just go, we can get those investments, but if I get an investor, my tensions, my stress would increase 100x because I have to return that money as well, right? So it's not that funding is everything. So when you are starting or something, don't look that just the next day I want to go out for funding. No, just build something. Build level by level. There are so many government grants today available if you want to work on your startup or something, or prototype even small grants. Starting from 10,000 up to 1 CR. So that is how you should have your resource planning. That let's start with something and then again go on. And then time is also very important. You have to manage your time because it won't be very easy, especially when we were doing. So being in college, I have to plan my college studies as well, college projects, assignments, practicals, because it went offline. So that the startup and so many other things. So time management is very important. But this is something you'll learn over time. So it's not that difficult. But you have to do these things if you are planning to do a startup. Now the biggest question of job versus startup. So job, you get a steady income. So every first of every month, you get your paycheck in your bank account credited, and that's something you get addicted to. And seeing your friends, they are into top MNCs, they are working, in these companies or maybe even international, and they are earning so high packages. And on this other side, you are on ground zero. So you are not earning anything. You are not getting those funds into your account. You have a totally different lifestyle. So your friends may be partying at a 5-star, and you are just sitting at your home working on a laptop on your startup. So like there's a whole difference of dynamics. And again, there's so much of society acceptance as a startup because job. Even if your parents, even if I talk about myself, my personal experience, my parents weren't that acceptable to my startup because all they wanted was get a steady job, get a steady paycheck, and live a peaceful life. But obviously, when you have something, you want to do something, money won't matter because this is something you are doing not for yourself but for the society. So you have that motivation within you. As it is, as your startup will grow, obviously you will earn. So money is not something that you won't have, but you'll have sometime later. And obviously it's very difficult as a person, as a human, to see others, who were maybe probably who weren't good as you, but they're earning more than you. But they are nothing but, as it is said commonly, they are just a corporate slaves working for a company 9 to 5 in a job, which is not true. It's always 9 to 8 or something like that. But again, you are someone who is not seeking for a job but creating a job. So I remember I got a message on LinkedIn. So this girl, she was like 2 to 3 years older than me, and she texts me that, sir, due to this mass layoff thing, I lost my job and I am the only bread earner of my family. So can you please help me with my job? And obviously, being very young, we couldn't hire. But that is, was an eye-opening moment for me, because I realized that when you are working as a businessman, you are creating so many jobs. So let's say, even if I am getting my raw materials, the factory that is making the raw materials, the labor that is working for that, now the one who is doing the like this steel, so like who is working in the steel factories, etc. So it's a whole chain, it's a whole nexus that you are creating those jobs, you are feeding people, and I think that's so beautiful. What you can do with your startup. So that is something that gets that additional level of motivation for you, that you are creating an impact with your product, as well as you are creating an impact with your startup by employing people, and that's a very noble thing you can actually do. Now again, team building is very very important, to have the right team, to have the right set of people working with you, because that's a whole environment. So like we keep hiring for our startup as well, like interns in many fields, etc. So we hired a content writer, and she worked good with us for like 2 to 3 months. 7 8 months later, one night she just texts me that I wanted to talk to you something about, and I'm like, yeah, say. So she's like, today I'm having the jobs, it's very well paying, etc. But they don't respect my work. They don't respect me as a person. But working with you, working with your startup, I realized what my worth was, and the kind of environment you had in your startup, etc. So I liked it very much, and that was a very beautiful message to me, because it resonates with my vision, what I want to create. And moments like these, I had one of my interns, so like she texted me that, sir, I got placed in this huge MNC, and getting an internship with you really helped me a lot. So this is something, an impact, a very small impact, like what, she was an intern for 2 to 3 months, but even if in that period you could create some impact that is helping someone else, that is just a very beautiful aspect of startups which people don't see. So focus on these little moments as well, because having the right team, the right setup, and impacting those lives, it's just so good. Now this OPR cycle, so every time you will stuck into the cycle wherein one day you are optimistic, the next day pessimism hits you, and you're like, oh shit, what I am doing, and the next day you're back to real life, that things don't work my fancy world way, and you are expecting that I've created this product, I'll sell in millions. The next day you realize no one will buy my product, and then reality hits you that maybe people will buy, but it will take some time. So you're constantly stuck into the cycle. So this is a very basic human nature. So don't worry about it. If you're stuck into the cycle, but just let yourself out. Just go and explore these opportunities, what you're doing, etc. And you'll be good to go. So this is again what I say, that success for some people is maybe probably having a net worth of 100 CR. For success, someone is probably getting a high-paying job, or buying a luxury car or something. So everyone defines success their way. But actual success is your journey, what you are living through. There is no parameter to define your success. You cannot say that today. So even if you are on 100 CR net worth, when you get to that destination, you will be like, why not 1000 CR? So it's never ending process. But just live your journey through it. So if you love the process, you are working every day. There are good moments, there are bad moments. So that's a whole journey to it. So that is your actual success, because your journey is what makes you, what defines you. And so, for example, my journey today, I'm talking about my journey to you all. So someday, probably one of you will be talking to someone else. So that is how you love your journey, you tell your journey, and I have messages from people who are saying that you inspired us, this and that. So that is how if you love your journey yourself, you can probably inspire many others too. And I think yes. So this is the last thing. So I won't bore you more. So this is my door analogy when I say that when opportunity doesn't knock the door, build the door. So probably you won't find opportunities coming to you. So why not just create it? Just find a pain point, work on it, and work so hard that even if someone tries to enter that door, once you have created it, no one can. And that is what, as a startup founder, you want to build in. And so this is my contact details. I'll be like very much happy to connect with you all. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, on my email ID, etc. So if any doubts you want to have. So the one thing that's so beautiful about this entrepreneur community is that people are very helpful. So even if you have slightest of doubts, you want to do where you are start, etc. So this whole community will help you a lot. So if you want to connect with me anytime. I'll be anytime available. And thank you so much for having me today. Thank you all. If you want to ask something, please let me know. Thank you.